Who is Eve Teschmacher? Lex Luthor's girlfriend in Superman Explained. DC Studios dropped its first full-length trailer for James Gunn's Superman, and with its release, a lot of new information about the film has emerged. Starring David Corenswet as Clark Kent/Superman, it will follow the hero early in his career as he accidentally stirs up international controversy and draws the ire of Lex Luthor. In addition to Corenswet and Halt, Superman stars Rachel Brosnahan, Edie Gathegi, Isabella Merced, Sarah Sampaio, and Nathan Fillion, among others. The Superman trailer sets up Lex and Clark's rivalry as rooted in jealousy and xenophobia. The Luthor Corp CEO oozes with envy as he calls the hero an it and laments how he's become the focal point of the world's conversation. There are other external factors at play, such as the government objecting to Superman's unsanctioned activities, but that Lex-Clark animosity seems to be the core of the film's conflict. While there were a lot of major reveals in the latest trailer, there is a blink-and-you-miss-it shot of Eve Teschmacher, Lex's assistant and girlfriend. In the clip, she is taking a selfie while the Hammer of Baravia destroys Metropolis in the background. Given Lex's importance in Superman, Eve has the potential to be a major supporting character in her own right. Despite first appearing in the iconic Superman, the movie, Eve isn't as well known to modern audiences, having been ignored or eclipsed by other characters in most modern Superman media. Interestingly, Eve has no comic origin. As stated, she first appeared in the 1978 Superman film, where she was played by Valerie Perrine. Eve is something of a sympathetic character for two major reasons. Lex is constantly verbally abusing her, and she has a conscience. Throughout the movie, she provides a mix of comedic relief, a role shared with Ned Beatty's Otis, and visual appeal. In fact, her attractiveness is used as part of Lex's plan at one point. Nonetheless, Superman goes out of its way to establish that Lex does not view her as an equal, with him yelling Miss Teschmacher at the top of his lungs and frequently insulting her. Towards the climax of the film, Lex threatens to target a California fault line, as well as Hackensack, New Jersey, as part of a real estate scheme. The problem is that Eve's mother lives in Hackensack. After Lex ignores this, Eve decides to set free a captive Superman, so long as he promises to save her mother first. After a somewhat uncomfortable kiss, she then laments why she can't seem to fall for a good guy. Unfortunately, Eve goes right back to helping Lex in Superman Due, so her hint of a redemption arc is short-lived. She's given less to do in this film, and that's the last we see of Perrine in the role. Since then, her only live-action appearance was in the CW's Supergirl, where she worked as a double agent for Lex, with whom she was in love. In this storyline, she also turns against Lex. Additionally, she has appeared a few times throughout various Superman and Jimmy Olsen comics. Though Eve herself only has a handful of live-action appearances, her presence can be felt throughout Superman media. She inspired more than a few Lex love interests and devotees in the 47 years since her debut. To start, there's Lex's revenge-obsessed ex-wife, Ariana Carlin, from Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, who targets Superman in retaliation for Lex's death. Her life is more tragic as she enacts her complicated revenge against Lois and Clark, and her efforts lead to Lex's revival, but she is imprisoned, and there is no indication they ever meet again. Another Eve-inspired character is Kitty Kowalski from Superman Returns. Played by the White Lotus Parker Posey, she is, in effect, an Eve stand-in. The film was made almost 30 years after Superman, so all major characters were recast. However, instead of recasting Eve, the writers created Kitty, who goes through the same general beats, starts a toxic relationship with Lex, realizes he doesn't care about her, helps Superman, and develops an unrequited crush on the hero. With regard to Eve, Smallville is an interesting case. Despite heavily focusing on Lex, she never makes an appearance, at least not as the character was previously portrayed. Elements of her story are felt in Lex's toxic relationship with Lana Lang, but the most significant reference to Eve is the creation of Tess Mercer. Played by Cassidy Freeman, Tess was conceptualized as a hybrid of Eve and Lex's female bodyguard, Mercy Graves.